My ex-girlfriend dumped me out of the blue months ago, saying she wanted to explore seeing other people. Now she's shown up again, clearly pregnant, and says the baby is mine. Posted by you/itsmean22. I, 23M, had been in a relationship with my ex-girlfriend, 21F, for 5 years before the sudden breakup. Obviously, we were high school sweethearts, and I thought we were well on our way to getting married and starting a family together. In fact, we were engaged when everything fell apart, and at that time, I was the happiest guy in the world. One day, out of the blue, without any warning or even the slightest suspicion on my part, she told me that she needed to talk to me and that I wasn't going to like what she had to say, but she had to say it. She spent about 15 minutes crying, telling me that she would love me forever but felt like we had gotten together too young and that she needed to be single for a while. Of course, this completely confused me. What does that even mean? So I made her explain. She gave me a whole list of BS reasons, about not wanting to be responsible for my happiness, wanting to go places without having to worry about me, and other things that just left me more confused. I told her that she could do all of that right then and there and that we didn't have to break up for it. I offered to give her space, whatever she needed. Nothing I said changed her mind, so it finally dawned on me to ask if this was really about wanting to date and see other people. She denied that there was anyone specific she wanted to date or see, but ultimately, yes, she thought that was what she wanted to do. As you can imagine, I was devastated. She tried to tell me she loved me again, and I just told her to keep it to herself. Then she asked if I was going to be okay, and I told her that was no longer any of her concern before walking out the door. She tried calling me and sent several texts, but I just deleted them without reading and blocked her on everything. I wish I could say I handled it like a man and didn't care, but the truth is, I fell into a deep, deep depression. That was 3 months ago, and I have not seen or spoken to her since. That is, until yesterday. As I pulled into my driveway, she got out of a car parked across the street and started walking toward me. I didn't even look at her and just started walking into the house because I had nothing to say to her, but she yelled out my name. I stopped and just shot back with, "What?" I turned around, and there she stood, very obviously pregnant. I didn't know what to say, so I just stood there. She apologized for ambushing me but said she had been trying to reach me for quite some time and knew I had her blocked, but she needed to talk to me. I wasn't happy to see her. In fact, I was really not happy to see the woman I had loved my entire life pregnant with some other guy's kid. So I just told her that we really didn't have anything to talk about and turned to go inside. Then she yelled out that the baby was mine, which, of course, stopped me dead in my tracks. Long story short, she told me she is 4 months pregnant and that she was about 1 month pregnant when she broke up with me but didn't know it at the time. She said she hadn't even suspected she was pregnant until the 2nd month, when she missed her period but kept getting conflicting home pregnancy test results. Eventually, she went to a clinic to get tested, and it confirmed that she was pregnant. She said she spent the next month trying to convince herself to have a termination but just couldn't go through with it. She begged me to let her come inside and talk. I won't lie, I was probably crueler than I should have been. I told her I didn't believe the baby was mine, that she had left me to sleep with other guys, and that she had gotten knocked up by someone who wanted nothing to do with her, so she came running to me, hoping I would pretend to be the baby's father. She started crying and said she deserved that, but she insisted she never went out with anyone else. I'll try to summarize this, as it's already very long. She swore she never went out with anyone else, that she never got the chance, and that she was completely honest when she said she had no one in mind when she broke up with me. She believes that being pregnant made her hormonal and impulsive, and she thinks the sudden urge to break up with me was just that, a sudden urge. She hadn't been thinking about it beforehand. She asked if I had read any of her texts. I told her I had not, and she said that if I had, I would have seen her reaching out the next day, trying to take it back and saying she knew breaking up was a mistake. Here's where I stand right now, after hours and hours of talking with her. My heart was shattered. A part of me desperately wants to throw away all my doubts and fears, take her back, and be both a husband and a father. But as much as I want that, I will not be a father to a child that I did not create with a woman who left me to sleep with other men. That doesn't mean I wouldn't be a stepdad or something, but I will not do this with someone who knowingly broke my heart. I have demanded a paternity test. Neither of us has a clue how to do this, but she is going to ask her OB/GYN at her next appointment. I don't know if I have to wait until the baby is born or if I can do it sooner, but I need this for my own peace of mind. She said she is fine with it, as she has zero doubt that the baby is mine, claiming she never slept with anyone else. So here are my questions. 1. If the child is mine, where do I go from here? She gave me a letter she wrote while we were separated, dated about a month ago, in which she expressed deep regret for hurting me, how much she loved me, and that breaking up was the biggest mistake of her life. 2. How do I believe her when she says she hasn't been with anyone else since she left me? Even if the child is mine, that doesn't mean she didn't sleep with someone else. It may make me a jerk, but if that's the case, I don't want her back. 3. Obviously, if the child isn't mine, this all becomes a non-issue because that would be an absolute deal-breaker for me. 4. What do I do with all of this hurt and anger? I want to love my child, assuming it's mine, and as long as everything she says is true, I think I want to love her again, too. But I've had 3 months of sleepless nights, fits of rage, and soul-crushing depression. She told me she wants to do whatever it takes to make this work. She has offered to pay for couples counseling and is willing to be as transparent as I need her to be. Right now, my head is spinning. 4 months ago, I would have loved to be a father and make this woman my wife. Now, I still have those emotions, but they're mixed with pain and hurt. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Relevant comments. Commenter. My money's on the baby being yours. If you guys have only been broken up for 3 months and she's already visibly pregnant to the extent that you could tell as soon as you saw her, it's likely she conceived while you two were still together. I mean, definitely get the paternity test and don't blindly believe her, but that leads me to think she's telling the truth. I think jumping to she's undoubtedly a liar and a cheat in these situations is a bit misguided. Secondly, get it out of your head that people need a valid reason to break up. People can break up for whatever reason they want, even in a 5-year relationship. I think your inability to recognize and respect this has led you to brush aside her BS reasons and fixate on the sleeping with other people thing. Thirdly, for people in serious relationships at your age, especially those that started in high school, it is very common to want to break up for this reason. I'm in that age group and know many people who did the same thing. And it's not always about sleeping with other people, often, it's just about being independent. For example, being able to make major life decisions without having to take another person's future into account. Surely you can empathize with that feeling of pressure? I know you've been hurt, but I think you're a little blinded by your pain right now. Ops response. Well, you'll have to forgive me if, after 5 years and zero clue that this was going to happen, I questioned the motives and didn't just blindly accept the reasoning. Hey, I freely admit it's my only relationship as well, and I was deeply in love, so being blindsided one day out of the blue hit pretty hard. Did I handle things well? I don't know, have you ever had a fiancé? Remember, we were more than just boyfriend and girlfriend, break up with you after a 5-year relationship with no warning? If so, please tell me how you just accepted it in stride and moved on. Commenter 2. Yeah, buddy, you hold on to that hate with no possibility of forgiveness. That'll make you a great role model for a kid. Look, life isn't easy. Nobody has a cheat sheet, and certainly, nobody has done it all before, so most of us are flying blind and making decisions on the run. Yeah, she probably felt like she hadn't had a chance to spread her wings and see the world, but does that cheapen your relationship in any way? Let me ask you this, if you listen to a recording of your favorite song, but the last 10 seconds of the fade out is loud static, does that mean the whole song is ruined? No, just the last 10 seconds. All your favorite parts are there, and every reason you love that song is still perfectly valid, it's only the very last part that's clouding your memory of it. The same thing is happening in your relationship, you're letting how it ended destroy everything that was good about it. You need to sit down, take a deep breath, and go to therapy with your baby mama to rebuild some trust and remind each other that the last 5 years have probably been pretty good. Ops response. Thank you for that. Honestly, the way you described the situation with the song truly struck home for me. I typed out my post and the few replies I had last night, fresh off talking with her for hours about everything, and I was a mess. Today, I see that I'm being scolded for what I wrote, and your post really hit the point. I had a 5-year relationship that was magic to me, and losing it made me lose sight of why those 5 years were so good. It doesn't mean I'm over it or anything yet, but looking at it the way you said, like the song, has got to be a better way. Op adds an edit to his post. There are so many responses that I can't really get to them all, so I want to make one addition here in hopes of addressing most of them. I read what you all were saying, and it was loud and clear that I have issues. I was completely ignorant about hormonal issues, however, I read up on them a little today, and I see that this is very possible. Please understand that when I wrote all of this, I had just finished speaking with her, and my emotions were very raw, I was very confused. I love her with all my heart, I know that. I knew that last night. The reason I can't answer all of your questions is that I am on my way to talk with her. I can't let this go, I've been given a second chance with her, and this is all I want. I still want a paternity test, just for my own peace of mind. I hope she can understand that, even though I know it's going to hurt her feelings. I think I'm just going to have to take a leap of faith and trust that everything she said about it being her hormones and how she never really wanted this is true. I'm sorry to anyone I offended because I came across as a grade A douchebag. Update 3 days later. Hello, everybody. I wanted to stop by and give everyone a little update on what has transpired since this weekend. After talking with you guys and reading, I found out that pregnancy hormones can really mess with some people's minds. I went to the apartment where she is staying with a friend, and the friend was nice enough to leave so she and I could have a long, emotional talk. I'll spare you the lengths and depths of our conversation, but needless to say, it was long, painful, and filled with crying, mostly by me, shamefully. I totally broke down. Any and all pretense of being strong and trying not to let anything bother me was just washed away in a matter of moments. She makes me very vulnerable, and while I don't like that feeling much, I will say that once I got everything off my chest, I felt like $1,000,000. She was very patient, very kind, and very loving. This was the girl I have known all these years. From her end, she stated that she never went out with anyone else. 2 guys who knew we were broken up did try to ask her out, but she told the first one that she wasn't ready, and by the time the second one asked, she already knew she was pregnant. After hours of talking, we ended up falling into each other's arms. By that time, her roommate had come back because she had to go to bed for work. So, she came home with me to continue talking. We ended up making love all weekend. At first, I thought I would be grossed out, to be honest with you, because I had never even thought about pregnancy sex before. I wouldn't have even considered it if I thought for 1 second that the baby wasn't mine. That, I guess, is the takeaway from all of this. I now believe her 100%, and I'll tell you why. She is insisting that we do a paternity test. If she wasn't sure, she probably wouldn't want to go through with it, but she says she has never been with anyone else, and I believe her. So yesterday, she had a pre-existing OB/GYN appointment, and she set it up so I could go with her. Here's what was so cool. Her doctor is a guy who can't be more than 35 or so, and he was the coolest motherflopper I've ever talked to. I mean, in real life, if I met this guy outside of the office, he would be a bro of the first order. We went in for the exam, and I got to see the baby on the ultrasound. Man, it hit me that I'm going to be a dad at that moment. After he finished the exam, he asked her if now would be a good time for the talk, and she said yes. I had no idea what was going on, but she said she wanted him to talk with me, and that it was her idea. She left, and the doctor and I had a chat. He said my girlfriend had spoken with him about everything over a month ago, and while he wouldn't discuss her medical condition exactly, he wanted me to know the facts about female hormones and how they can impact women. Like I said, coolest guy ever. He broke it down so I could understand it. He also said that she had spoken to him yesterday about paternity testing and that they were going to set it up for next week. He said that, for both of our peace of mind, we should just go ahead and do it. He also spoke with me for a few minutes about how I was feeling and even shared a story about how he and his wife nearly separated over a pregnancy-related issue. I left that day feeling 100% confident that this is a relationship I want to work to maintain. I honestly now think she just had a crisis of pent-up frustration, hormones, and emotions and didn't even know why she was feeling that way. I just finished moving her stuff back to my house about an hour ago. When she gets off work tonight, we are going to embark on our journey to make this work. I'm not going to rush things because either of us may have built up emotions that we aren't even aware of yet, but I already have a ring, and if all goes well for a month or two, I'm going to ask her to marry me. I know both of our families would prefer us to be married if we are going to have a child. Which brings me to my next point. Now I get to tell my parents they are going to be grandparents. That also means I have to tell them we are back together. This should be fun. Anyway, thank you all so much for helping set me straight. I wanted to believe her but didn't believe the hormone thing. Thanks to some of your stories, I now know the truth. Relevant comments. Commenter. Congrats, Op. Wait a week before telling your parents. If they ask about the breakup, paternity, etc., you'll already have the test results and can share everything she said. This will make you both come across as more mature and responsible. Also, my wife, then fiancée, did, in fact, break up with me and call off the wedding while pregnant. Luckily for me, it didn't even last a day, so absolutely nobody else knew about the incident. But it definitely took me a while to get past it, pregnancy or not. Good luck, and be patient. It's good training for both having a kid and wedding planning. Both can be hell, but they're worth the effort.